I'm Tammy Fogarty, your perfectly imperfect nutritionist, and it is Q&A Thursday, which is my favorite day of the week because I love when you ask me questions. And I have received quite a few questions and comments about stress eating or emotional eating, and how do you overcome those feelings of grabbing for chips and chocolate when you are feeling stressed out. So let me ask you this. How often do you grab for unhealthy food options because you are feeling overwhelmed, sad, anxious, upset, depressed? And if you say yes to any of that, let me just tell you right now, you are not alone because we have all done it. In fact, foods that contain high amounts of sugar or saturated fat, they actually do bring us comfort. They release certain triggers in the brain that make you feel calm. So it's no wonder why we grab for these foods when we are feeling stressed. However, when we do this, when we grab for unhealthy food options because of our emotions, this does lead to being overweight. It can cause obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer. And my friends, I do not want you to ever deal with any of those due to overeating. So let me give you some really effective strategies that are simple. You can start them today and really kind of conquer this feeling of grabbing for food when you're stressed out. So I've got some really great tips, but before I go into my tips, I want to ask you this. The next time you sit down to eat because of stress or you're grabbing for that snack food, if you right now are standing there with your hand in a bag of chips, I want you to ask yourself why. And I want you to really think about, are you eating because it's a preference or because it's a priority? So if food is a preference, it's because you want to eat it, maybe because it tastes good, maybe you had a craving for it. But if you're eating because food is a priority, that means that you are eating because you need to nourish your body. You're hungry, you're getting that signal that you need to eat food. So if that bag of potato chips is a preference, you're probably eating out of emotional eating or stress eating. If it is a priority, if you're reaching for something because you have to eat, then you're eating for physiological reasons. So I want you to really sit back and identify the next time you're grabbing for those foods, is this a priority in my life or is this just a preference? If it's a preference, put it back. Now let me go into these tips so you can kind of identify why you eat the foods that you do during certain situations. First and foremost, and this may require a little bit of homework, but I promise it's nothing too daunting, I want you to identify what are your stressors. So again, if you're standing there with your hands in a bag of chips, what triggered your response or your behavior, which is to reach for those bag of chips? Were you stressed out? Did somebody overwhelm you? Is it 4 o'clock and you're a mom and you just ran all over picking up the kids and dropping them off at tutoring and soccer practice and you're feeling overwhelmed because now you need to figure out what's for dinner? So you reach for that bag of chips? Well, again, moms, you're not alone because we all do that, but we have to really identify what is really the stress and why is it triggering you to choose certain foods. So once you can do that, and maybe you journal a time of day that you eat those trigger foods. Maybe if it's at night, you're one of those night grazers. Well, maybe you're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you have a little bit of anxiety about what you have to do the next day, and that's causing you to reach for some sugary, salty snack. Because again, when we feel stress, our adrenal glands are all over the place. We have cortisol that's released. And when you're feeling like that, you are going to naturally reach for those salty, sweet, carbohydrate-rich foods. And I want you to overcome that. And it's easy. You can absolutely do it. But first, you have to figure out what are your stressors and what are your trigger foods. When you can identify that, then we can start working on the rest. So do that first. And then, and I have my list here because I don't want to miss anything, I want you to figure out how you're going to ride out the storm. So when we have negative emotions, when we feel anxiety or stress coming on, think of it as like tides, like ocean tides coming in and going out. So when our feelings of emotions are high, think of it as a tide coming in, right? So it's high, you're overwhelmed, but eventually it's going to recede and it's going to go back and you're going to have that sense of calmness again. You're going to be able to restore those feelings. Now, when you're grabbing food, you're basically numbing those feelings, right? So when you grab from food, food actually distracts you from dealing with the stress. So I want you to, the next time you're feeling emotional, just let it go, like feel it, let it happen, and figure out another coping mechanism rather than reaching for food. And I'm going to give you some really great tips that you can do in place of reaching for food. Now, the third thing is don't empower food, right? I mentioned that food distracts you from dealing with the real issue at hand. So don't empower food. The reason why you need food is to bring you nourishment, to bring you energy. If you're overeating, you're going to feel tired and sluggish, so you've overconsumed. If you're eating because you're stressed, you're not dealing with that stressor, you're just placing a Band-Aid over it. And I want you to deal with those emotions. So you're going to have to identify your stress, identify those trigger foods. I want you to ride out the storm, but then I also want you to place emphasis on things that are going to bring you positive reinforcement instead of empowering food to bring you comfort. Now, different ways that you can do that. You have to identify a new coping mechanism. I'm going to give you an example that I use. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed or stressed, I go to yoga, and I go to yoga almost every day because there is always something that's going to stress me out. It's just life. It is what it is. So I'll walk into the yoga studio sometimes and I'm pissed. I'm like stomping in because I'm overwhelmed and I'm exhausted. And I just take a yoga class and I walk out of there and it's like, okay, I can deal with this now. And I want you to identify that because no food is going to make me feel that good. Now, for you right now, food may bring you that relief, but I need you to find some other way to deal with those emotions. You have to find a new coping mechanism. So maybe it's yoga. Maybe yoga's not for you, but maybe you just go for a walk. Maybe you learn some deep breathing techniques. And I know that sounds silly, but just like take a deep breath. Do it right now. Like, just let it out. And maybe you have to do it 10 or 20 times. Maybe you just have to walk away from a situation instead of grabbing for those chips, because I'm pretty sure you're listening to this because your goal is weight loss or to get healthy. You're not going to get healthy, you're not going to lose weight if you continue using food as a coping mechanism. So find something, anything other than food. And if it must be food, I want you to grab something healthy, something crunchy like carrots, celery, grab an apple, eat something healthy. If you don't have those trigger foods in your house, you can't reach for them. So find a new trigger food and also learn to deal with the stress. All right. I also want you, my last tip is to take control. How will you take control of this? Now, a lot of people, and you included, you may be saying like, I'm too busy right now. I don't really have time to integrate all of these steps. There's too much going on. I'll do this when things settle down. Well, things will never settle down because we are always engaged in something. There is always some kind of good stress or bad stress. Things never settle down. So if you're waiting for your life to be calm, well, you're not going to need those coping mechanisms anyways because you're calm. So you need to take action right now, today. So I want you to click on the link above. It's my blog, and I have all sorts of tips that you can download and take with you. So read through it. It's a little bit more thorough information, but also there's a PDF that you can download. And again, take this information with you. So when you're in a stressful situation, you can read through it and find a better, healthier coping mechanism. The other thing I want you to do is share this information because we all know somebody who is dealing with stressful situations and they tend to grab for foods in those situations. So if you share this, I enter you into a drawing to win a free nutrition consultation with me. March 1st, I will announce the winner for February. So share, just click on share. You can come back and watch this later and share this information with other people who can benefit from this information. Together, if we all work together, we can all become healthier and happier. And that just sounds wonderful to me. If you want my nutrition plan, every week I send on Monday my nutrition plan. It's called Follow Nutrition Tammy, and it's basically what I eat as a nutritionist every single day in order to stay healthy and happy and motivated, and I share that all with you for free. So there is a link above that you can click on to join the Follow Nutrition Tammy tribe. Love to have you be part of it. So just do it, right? You can absolutely do this. If you need a little bit more assistance, you can make a consultation with me. I work with people all over the United States. So give me a call, 888-848-2669. You can schedule a discovery session, which is a free 10-15 minute session where you just explore what you're looking for and if I am the right person to help you. And if you decide to do so, you can make a consultation with me. Again, if you're not here in Florida, I can talk with you over FaceTime or teleconferencing, however it's going to work for you. But just reach out because I am definitely here to help you. So have a beautiful day, everybody, and I look forward to hearing from you. Bye. Namaste.